I'm your cult boyfriend, and welcome to a live stream here. I just want to make sure we're sounding all right. I'm your cult boyfriend, and welcome. I sound really good, and I look even better. Hi, how are you all doing today? I just wanted to put together. I have some activities, but like mostly just hanging out, seeing where you guys are at, letting you know where I'm at. Yeah, I've been well, if you watch the channel, I just finished the show Roswell, which I thought season 2 of Roswell was masterful. Season 3 is a different story altogether, but I really enjoyed myself with Roswell overall. And that means that we're going to study a different show, a new one. And I just wanted to share that with you as a sort of announcement of where we're going to be spending our time next. And I'm spending it right here, actually. And in my opinion, Carrie Russell, we're covering Felicity in case you haven't realized it yet, but Carrie Russell is she gives me silent film star vibes, like she's Lillian Gish coded, especially in this intro, which is actually one of my favorite intros ever, like opening themes. I like the mood, I like the vibe, I like the song. It's a really good opening theme, so I'm excited to do some Felicity in the future. And Scott Speedman, get to hang out with Scott Speedman. I don't really know too much about him outside of Underworld, so this will be exciting. Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Power Ranger. Okay, so this is the fun part. Felicity was created by J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves, and I never thought in a million years that I would ever be analyzing or spending so much time with either of these two people. So that's exciting for me. I get to figure out exactly what the philosophy or psychology of J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves are. So that's exciting for me. That's what we're going to do next. There's only 4 seasons of Felicity, so it won't be too long. It'll be longer than Roswell, but Felicity is where we're going to be spending most of our time next. And should actually have the season 1 analysis video up on the 4th. So, hopefully Felicity has a couple fans out there. and I'm not making the videos for absolutely nobody. But I'm excited for Felicity. That's what we're going to be studying next, the main point of focus. And also, since the last live stream, I'm pretty happy that because the last live stream was called Why I Do What I Do. And was kind of venting and trying to kind of express my own philosophy behind, covering coming of age and teen art, like teen-oriented art on the channel, teen films, teen shows. I was venting and trying to express exactly why I did that, and the response to it has been really awesome. I really think I found a small community of people who kind of understand what I'm doing. So that's like the coolest thing in the world for me. Like the handful of viewers that I do have, I think are the best viewers in the world. So that's really cool. And I like, hey, Peyton's Jen, wanting to watch that show since forever. I'm surprised you haven't watched Felicity. I would have figured out of everybody who comments sometimes that you would be a Felicity expert. So like I film things ahead of schedule, right? Just in case something happens, and like I always assume that I'm going to make a terrible mistake or that I'm going to completely just change personalities entirely. So like I like to schedule videos at least a week in advance. So I finished season 1 of Felicity. It's good. It's good. I think you'd like it. I can't speak to the rest of the show though. First season was good. But I'll save like the analysis and stuff for that video. But it's good to see you here. But now I've just been, what else have I been doing besides watching a lot of Felicity? I'm getting a group of friends together on Friday. We're gonna watch Cherry Falls, your cult boyfriend classic, that Brittany Murphy classic. But I was thinking we could have like a little bit of fun with this because I don't just want to hang out and just say a bunch of stupid things, because I will eventually say something smart, something dumb, something outrageous, and something cancelable. So like, let's do an activity in honor of me finishing Roswell, which by once again, season 2 of Roswell, I may have been harsh on the last season, and I wasn't entirely raving about the first season, but that second season is one of the best seasons of teen drama ever. And if you appreciate that art form as much as I do, if you haven't watched Roswell yet, second season will completely blow your mind. It's great. But in honor of completing Roswell, I figured we can watch like a quick video together where we can figure out who the 10 hottest male aliens are. How does that sound? It's the only activity that I feel like doing. So let's see who the 10 hottest male aliens are. This could be fun, everybody. The only reason we're doing it actually is because I was trying to find some fun Roswell thing to react to, but there's not a whole lot of Roswell content out there. And Max was in the thumbnail for this, so at least we'll talk about Max. I have no idea who else we'll talk about. I don't have like my own personal top 10 hottest male aliens, but I mean, if I did, Max would be there probably. So let's see.
These sexy guys are out of this world, literally.
Because I can't hear it.
It's a joke. I get it. It is not funny, but I get it.
Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 hottest
I can't hear this video. I don't know why.
For this list, we'll be looking at attractive male film and TV characters who are from planets other than Earth, taking into account both their personalities and their physiques.
Round 2.
Damn, could you not hear the video I played earlier either? I can't hear that. I can't hear anything in that. Probably because I don't understand how StreamYards works. Hold on.
What?
We'll also be including part alien hotties on our list.
You ready?
Watch this. Number 10, Spock, Star Trek.
Fascinating.
This pointy-eared and logic-loving extraterrestrial is the first officer on the Enterprise.
Oh, well, that was pointless. Spock. I'm sorry, I don't understand how to use StreamYards. I don't have any cool activities then. Let's go to Tier Maker then. That sucks. Oh my god. Damn it. I don't know why I can't hear it. Sorry, people. And now my laptop's deciding to be weird with me. Let's go somewhere where we don't have to focus on sound or anything like that. There we go. Check out all these awesome pop-ups I got on the Tier Maker website. I just typed in movies. Let's go to the old reliable. Let's just do a random fucking tier that someone else made. I obviously didn't make any of these. I think I've done greatest film directors before. What are the best movies ever? This is like a fake list, right? This isn't a real list. This is the weirdest list I've ever seen. And why not? We have to do an activity. Let's see. 12 Angry Men. This list is complete bullshit, dude. This list sucks. 12 Angry Men, I'm going to put in the D tier. I feel like I've talked about why 12 Angry Men sucks a lot before, so I'm not going to do it now. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. I can see that it's from the creator of 3 movies that I know. Is that Rachel McAdams? I don't know what that movie is. I have no idea, but Apocalypse Now is A tier. Back to the Future, I have not seen. It's like Back to the Future is like the only big movie that I've never seen. It's like my blind spot, and I really don't care enough to correct that at all. I don't care. I've just never seen Back to the Future, and it's been so long since I haven't seen Back to the Future that I just kind of want to keep it that way. I have no intentions of correcting that. Man, I'm mad about that 10 hottest movie aliens, 10 hottest TV show aliens thing not working, dude. I wanted to watch that video. I wanted it to be not a fucking tier, man. That's weird. I don't know why I can't hear anything. But it's definitely annoying me. What's next here? Blazing Saddles. I hate Blazing Saddles. I don't actually think it's funny at all. I think it's one of the most overrated movies ever. And like About Time. About Time. I've never seen this movie. Never even heard of this movie. Okay. Okay, well, I guess I can say that I haven't seen it. Yeah. Sorry, this live stream seems to be smashing into a wall here. My laptop is trying to disrupt everything. But hey, I don't want to leave you guys hanging with one thing. What? Also, it's good to see you, Nessie. So even though I couldn't hear this video, I do want to know who the top 10 hottest male aliens were. I can't hear it, though. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I can't hear it at all. And I don't want to read the subtitles. It's stupid. But apparently Spock from Star Trek was there, but I guess it was like Zachary Quinto's Star Trek. Sure. Starman? We got some Jeff Bridges in here. Okay. Who's Kane? Is that Jupiter Ascending? Never even seen Jupiter Ascending, so who knows about that. Max Evans. There we go. This was the reason we were even watching this video. Max Evans is awesome. I guess we had David Tennant. What? As just a human being, or is Doctor Who an alien? I've never seen Doctor Who. Oh, Earth Girls Are Easy. Okay. I don't know that movie. Oh. Yeah, that's sexy. Keanu Reeves and what? Just Superman. Okay, so I guess we didn't miss any like quality entertainment there. But I was still kind of annoyed about it. All right, let's go back to this weird tier over here. I hope everyone heard me say that I hated Blazing Saddles and it's not funny and very overrated, and Casino Royale gets to be whatever, C tier. But yeah, I just don't like Casino Royale too much. It's mid, but you know, Eva Green and Mads Mikkelsen were pretty cool in it. I guess that's their like modern reinvention of James Bond. Like slightly bi-coded, like that's it. I don't know. It was fine. It was mid. Casablanca is also actually mid, everybody. Not too crazy about it. Dances with Wolves can go on the top of the D tier. Die Hard 3, yo, that's B tier. Fucking love Die Hard 3. That shit's great. That was John McTiernan coming back, right? From the first one, which is right here, which can be A tier. That's John McTiernan coming back. Die Hard 3 is fucking radical. I love that movie. Dr. Zhivago, some David Lean for us. End of the B tier. It's a lesser David Lean. This is not a real thing. Someone put this together as like a weird. I don't know if they're trolling, if they're having fun, or if this is like legitimately what they think are the best movies ever. Because there are some that would like generally be considered the best movies ever. Like Film Bro canon. And then there's other ones like fucking For Richer or For Poorer, the Pauly Shore movie. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? It's better than Blazing Saddles and 12 and a Half Men, or 12 Angry Men, though. Dr. No. I just think James Bond is pretty mid for the most part, I guess. Dr. Strangelove's S tier, though. I really like Dr. Strangelove. Who doesn't like Dr. Strangelove a lot? It's really good. And like what? Right after Strangelove, that's when Kubrick really became the Kubrick that we know. There's like pre-2001 and post-2001, and that's one of his best movies. I like Dr. Strangelove. The most interesting thing about Dr. Strangelove for me is it shows how adaptation really can change and determine what form the art is going to take. And I believe Dr. Strangelove was based on a Cold War novel, like a serious thriller called Red Alert. And Kubrick, I don't think he had the intention of making a black comedy out of the book, but when he and his writing partner were creating the screenplay for it, were drafting it, they couldn't help but laugh at kind of the dark absurdity of the apocalypse itself. And Dr. Strangelove came out of it. Fiddler on the Roof, I fucking hate it. Grandmother would watch it all the time. I think it's a very terrible movie and a very annoying one too. Fight Club can go above the James Bonds. I really don't care. I really just don't care about Fight Club. I once again, just mid at best. I think it gets worse the older that you get, probably as well. You watch it as a 12-year-old, you're gonna think it's the dopest shit ever, the deepest shit in the world. I mean, I don't even think it's worth like evaluating at all. I don't like Fight Club. Forrest Gump is a miserable, terrible movie. And people still think that Forrest Gump is like a classic, and I've never really understood that at all. Like, even for its time, I don't understand why people thought Forrest Gump was so good. I hate Gettysburg. This is not like a real thing. Whoever made this is not a serious person. He shouldn't be treated as such. The Godfather, S tier, whatever. Goldfinger. There's a lot of fucking James Bond on this list. Why is there so much James Bond? I mean, I think that's like, it's still mid, but it's better than Dr. No and Casino Royale. Gone Girl. Wasn't really thrilled with Gone Girl at all. Put at the top of the D tier. I think it's a little overrated or completely overrated. I don't understand why people like Gone Girl so much either. Maybe I never got on the Gillian Flynn bandwagon. I don't know. Gone with the Wind's so far the best movie we've covered on here. I love Gone with the Wind. That can go to the very top of the S tier. Inglourious Bastards, I think, is awesome. Top of the A tier. Jesus, I just can't take this stuff seriously. Interstellar's awful too. Jacob's Ladder is cool. End of the B tier. Like, this isn't real. That's Lethal Weapon 3. And it sucks because I legitimately love the Lethal Weapon series. Like 1, 2, and 4 an awful lot. 3 is the one I think is garbage. It's so boring, and that's what's really unforgivable about Lethal Weapon 3. Leon, a problematic baddie. I like it. I could go to the right behind Die Hard 3 on the B tier. I like Leon. Life is Beautiful is bad. The Matrix is end of the B tier. Sure. But Clint, come on, dude. Who made this list? Dude, I hate Mystic River. Why did people go crazy for Mystic River as well? I'm not really sure why. Why did people like Mystic River so much? It's definitely not the worst. Should these be in order on the D tier? whatever, that looks good to me. Why do people like Mystic River? I never really understood the fascination, adoration, and like devotion to that movie. I fucking hate it. North by Northwest is also bad. Once Upon a Time in the West, hell yeah, S tier. Okay, cool. This isn't real. This isn't real. And then he's coming at me with that? What the fuck are you talking about? Who made this goddamn list? No, this isn't a real list. You're coming at me with the 5th season of the year, the 2012 fucking classic. What are you talking about? No, I've never seen that. Prisoner C tier. What about Bonds and Fight Club? Pulp Fiction to me is S tier. It's at the very top right now. Love that movie. Rear Window, I think, is terrible. Red State, it shouldn't have gotten as much hate as it got. I'm gonna put it at the very end of the C tier. It's probably a D tier movie, but I'm put at the very end because Kevin Smith didn't do terribly with that. It's fine, but it's like not good quality. Requiem for a Dream, I have a couple issues with. I'm gonna put it at the top of the B tier though. I have a lot of problems with Requiem for a Dream. I definitely have a history of drug abuse. Requiem for a Dream to me feels like just a very well shot and composed after school special, like anti-drug PSA. It doesn't really seem to be saying anything truthful to me. And also, I think that it's a terrible, like, it does its job terribly of showing me the horrors of fucking drug use when you have Jared Leto and Jennifer Connelly as your main junkies, two of the most attractive people on the face of the earth. Like, whoa, yeah, I really don't want to do heroin now. I might end up looking beautiful for all of eternity. I like to compare it to Trainspotting. I think Trainspotting does a much better job of showing unreliable narrators, of showing the selfishness, of showing the awfulness, the grotesquerie that actually comes with being a smack addict, a heroin junkie. I don't think Requiem for a Dream does it. It feels like Requiem for a Dream is made by a guy who never did anything worse than smoke pot twice in middle school. Trainspotting to me is where it's at when it comes to those kinds of explorations of junkie behavior. Seven Psychopaths. I don't like that movie. What is that? What is that? What is that? I've already said that I hate The Shawshank Redemption. Sin City. Somewhere on the C tier. Behind Fight Club. Stand By Me is okay. A New Hope's A tier. Yeah, so that's the thing. I guess that Star Wars has been completely dominating all film discourse recently, yet again. That's not fun for me because I don't care about Star Wars at all. I think A New Hope is the only good Star Wars movie, personally. It's really fun to watch A New Hope and go like, imagine if all of these things weren't part of the like cultural lexicon or zeitgeist. Like, imagine you're seeing all this stuff for the very first time. Your mind would be blown. Mine would be blown. It's a really good kids movie. It's a good film for children. I like A New Hope. I'm impressed by George Lucas. George Lucas's S-tier movie, though, his masterpiece is American Graffiti. Now, that's brilliant beyond compare. And it just annoys me that somehow Star Wars completely dominates film discourse and film discussions. Because those films aren't at all interesting almost ever. I don't understand the obsession over fucking Star Wars. Like, the most significant film when it comes to criticism and discourse of the last 15 years is certainly The Last Jedi. And now all anyone's talking about is The Acolyte. Why does it matter? I don't understand why Star Wars matters. I have no idea. Like, matters this much. Like why is Star Wars criticism also film criticism? I don't see them as the same at all. It's just fucking nerd discourse. I hate it. T2, yo, that's S tier. That's right behind Gone with the Wind. It's so fucking good. Yes, it's better than Once Upon a Time in the West. T2 rules. Big Lebowski is at the bottom of the A tier. The Birds, the end of the C tier. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Yo. Right behind Pulp Fiction on the S tier. That's I like it more than Once Upon a Time in the West. I think Sergio Leone is an awesome director. Whenever I bring him up, I love to bring up one of my favorite quotes of all time. What do you say? You said, when I was younger, I believed in like love, communism, and like the magic of film. And now all I believe in is dynamite. Like, that's so fucking dope, dude. I love that so much for him. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is brilliant. Brilliant, mind-blowing. It still hits just as hard. The 100th time as it does the first time. The Green Mile's terrible. This isn't a real list. This isn't a real list. The Green Mile's awful. The Hurt Locker is also not fun or good. The Notebook, put that at the top of the C tier. It's awkward, the films that John Cassavetes' kid made. It's weird. Is that Princess Bride? Yeah. Yeah. End of the C tier. Oh my god, dude. The Searchers. Yeah. End of the S tier. There's Something About Mary. I go C tier as well. Toy Story 2. Fuck all this shit. I don't even like True Romance, really. But it's C tier. Wizard of Oz is C tier. Paris, Texas is B tier. See, that wasn't even fun. That wasn't even fun. I don't even know what this is. What the hell is that? I don't know. Maybe someone can tell me what that is. I have no clue what that is, though. Okay, we tried to do a tier. We tried to watch a video and got really nowhere with it. Jeez. No, but I did like look around for what's popping in the film criticism scene, and literally all that there is right now. Like, in order to be a film critic, I guess all you have to do is talk about Star Wars or like any product that Disney's pushing at the moment. Man, I wish I liked any of that enough to devote time to it. Like, even if I just sort of liked something, I don't like any like Marvel or Star Wars thing. I don't understand the. I guess I understand the love for them. You know, they are likable things. I just don't understand the discourse around them, and like just how fucking serious the discourse gets. Like, I don't get that at all. But in my world, I think we're just sticking to teen art, teen drama, teen movies, stuff like that. Really. Yeah. I don't really know what to talk about. I had a plan, but none of it ended up working on the stream, so I'm probably just gonna delete this stream anyway. I had a plan, but none of it worked. I'm trying to make it work, but I can't. We were gonna watch some videos and react to them, but I can't figure out how to make the fucking audio work. So now I'm left with nothing. Okay, we'll do our normal thing. Let's find an article. Man, I don't think there's any good ideas out there. Back to tier maker. No. I can't make the audio work. I wish that the audio work. Ugh. What's next on the teen movie TV list? Up next is Felicity, actually. I'm going to have the season 1 video for Felicity available on the 4th. And yeah, I mean, I've been liking it. It's going to be fun. Okay. I'm trying to make the, so ML, I'm trying to make the volume work for me so that I can hear things. I'm not even sure if any of you can hear things when I play a video. I'm not sure. Like I played this earlier, but I'm not sure if it worked because I can't. Okay. But yes, we are covering Felicity. I said earlier, like, it's going to be fun figuring out exactly what J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves, their psychology and philosophy was, because they actually ended up creating this. And I can tell you it's an extraordinarily sensitive show. So that'll be exciting. Dude. So yeah, I've been asked about Degrassi like a few times. And yes, I think everyone was into Degrassi. Degrassi, though, no, I'm never going to cover Degrassi. But I was into it. Like I watched Next Generation, I watched Degrassi High, I watched Degrassi Junior High. Watched it for a while. It's trash. No, like I just made fun of Requiem for a Dream for being like a quasi like artsy after school special, but Degrassi literally is an after school special. I don't think there's any artistry there. It's just trash, and that's why I liked it. It was trashy with actors who were my age when it was on. You know, why can't I hear that? Why can't I hear that? But I don't understand this fucking streaming software. So that sucks. Because I was gonna react to some videos, but I can't hear the videos, so I can't react to them. But hey, at least you guys can hear them. But I've been asked a few times to cover Degrassi, and like, no, there's no philosophy to Degrassi, though. There's no psychology to it. Just each episode, a kid's gay, a girl's on drugs, there's an eating disorder, a kid drinks for the first time, virginity is lost. It's just the issues. You know, that's all they are. But no, this fucking live stream didn't go according to plan. So I think you're all here at the future deleted live stream. This is going to be deleted because I can't make anything work. Maybe I'll reschedule, and before I start the live stream, I'll figure out how to make the volume fucking work for everything. But damn, because I had stuff planned, but I can't do it now. So that's upsetting. And I wasn't really wanting to do anything else. But fuck. There's nothing else I can do. We were gonna watch Silly Miss Mojo videos, and we were going to watch like other film tubers review certain things, and it was gonna be fun. I had a bunch of stuff. You know, we were gonna react to, like, you know how I read Letterboxd reviews? Oh shit, we can do that. We can do that. But like instead of Letterboxd reviews, we were gonna do like I was gonna watch, you know, bigger film tubers talk about movies I really like, and we were gonna criticize them. So I know. But hey, we can do Letterboxd reviews though, right? You can at least do that. And if you've been here for like the last half hour, I'm sorry. I've been running into technical problem after technical problem. And if I plan on deleting this stream anyway, we're gonna go to Letterboxd and we're gonna fucking we're gonna say some things. I totally agree. Compared to your other takes on teen media, Degrassi doesn't have the depth. It really doesn't. Yeah, problem of the week television. There's no philosophy behind it. There's none. Um, it's just trash. And I don't mean that in too much of a negative way. Like, I love trashy TV. I just can't analyze it. There's just nothing there to analyze. Maybe like really far down the road, I'll just make one single video about Degrassi, like overall as an entire IP, but I will never go season by season. Yeah, nothing worked. Nothing worked for me. Let's go to Letterboxd. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but I deleted my Letterboxd a long time ago, so we're going to be looking as a guest. I deleted my Letterboxd because I hate cinephile culture and everything that goes into it. What happened to this website? Do you see this pop-up? This advertisement. It's not a pop, it's just an ad. The ad is bigger. The ad letterboxes the Letterboxd page. Are you kidding me right now? This is what's become of oh, what the hell, dude? That's insane. Okay. What movie do I care about? Yeah, apparently I was trying to make fun of Letterboxd before. It didn't really work for me. See, I don't even know what movie to look up. Like, it gotta be a movie people wouldn't like. People generally wouldn't like, or like they get the wrong idea from. Yo, Queen of the Damned. I mean, I can see some people just completely. Dude, is every ad on here like this now? It's unusable. It's unusable. This is an unusable website. I mean, it's obviously not unusable. I'm using it. It's just, oh my God. That's so stupid. Popular reviews. Okay. Because we want to go to popular reviews. We don't want to go to like the most recent one and just read something from somebody who doesn't really deserve it. But this is what the public says is the best. This is a very relatable movie because I too am swayed by any good-looking person that crosses my path, have a blood kink, and only rise from my coffin at the sound of music. Okay. Dude, I don't know. I don't know. We're not even going to get anything from going here. We're not going to get anything from going here. This movie actually sucks. Me, but it slaps every time, bitch. Absolutely the epitome of unhinged early 2000s filmmaking. This was incredible. Okay, what if we said what epitome of unhinged early 2000s filmmaking? What is early 2000s filmmaking? What is unhinged filmmaking? What is qualify like any of those things? I don't feel like it. Love it or hate it. This is one of the coolest, most fun vampire movies ever made, and Aaliyah is so much better than the actors in it. R.I.P. baby girl. Do you think Lestat enjoys when goths bring plastic pitchforks to his shows, or does he find it disrespectful? That's the closest thing to an actual review we're gonna get. Why? No, whatever, dude. Mubi has great lists too. Because even Letterboxd is letting me down. I think you guys are Letterboxd users, right? Oh, well, at least this page looks good now without all the ads. Like, what's the point of Letterboxd, honestly? Just to log your movies? I would also have to ask, what's the point of logging your movies? Like, I don't understand the point of it. Just keeping lists? Is it like, do you find friends through Letterboxd? Because like you're certainly not going there to actually talk about the movies. I don't think anyone's going there for that. And dude, I think I don't want to sound too cynical or bitter, but I hate cinephile culture. I hate most people who love movies. I'm sorry. I just do. Film couldn't die any sooner. You see, going to Letterboxd sounded like a great idea, but now it's not. Now I'm uninterested in it. That's why I haven't made another Letterboxd reading reviews video, because I got bored with it. Mubi has lists. Oh, they do. Man, they got a bunch of lists. Oh my God. These look like okay lists. These look like good lists. I just don't know what list to do. The best films of every year. Let's go all the way down to... Okay, well, I don't get it anymore. How many films do you get to choose? What? ML, the movie lists are too complicated for me to follow. I need something simple. Edgar Wright has 1,000 favorite movies? Really? I don't have 1,000 favorite movie. I have like 50 movies that I like, I think, at this point. Weird movies. Thanks, Dave Gunn. Do we see anything here that's fun to talk about? Anything that I feel like talking about? I'm trying to think of what weird movies I like. But not even feeling movie anymore, dude. I'm curious about your takes on more bleak teen movies like Mean Creek, Welcome to the Dollhouse, or Elephant. I don't like them. I don't like bleak teen movies. For the same reason I don't like Requiem for a Dream as a film about drug use. Because I think it's inauthentic. Except for like Harmony Korine. They feel like after school specials, right? Elephant to me does not engage with what actually provokes or inspires the behavior that takes place within the film. It doesn't. It doesn't say anything interesting to me at all. And it's also too obsessed with its own composition to be truly like emotionally upsetting. Gus Van Sant, sometimes he's so self-involved that I can't even associate with any of the images that he's showing, especially the character. I don't think Elephant engages at all with mass murder. Not really. Not in a way that provides any sort of insight that's valuable. Welcome to the Dollhouse is funny. You know, it's really dark and goofy. Mean Creek's whatever. But when I think of bleak teen movies, I think of Harmony Korine and Larry Clark. I think of Bully and Kids and whatnot. Spring Breakers, those sorts of things. I like Spring Breakers, but feels like an after-school special. You know, I'm not saying that all teen movies should completely endorse destructive behavior, but at the same time, I am sort of saying that they should endorse rebellious behavior. You know, and not show everything like it's the worst fucking thing they've ever done in their lives. I think that more bleak teen movies are made by they normally strike me as old, cynical, jaded, like not in touch at all. Because I don't think that movies like Kids or movies like Elephant, movies like Welcome to the Dollhouse, movies like Bully, I don't think they're interacting at all with teenagers. You know, I think that they're interacting with people who already believe the same stuff they do, like older people who are kind of bitter and resentful about their coming of age, their own experiences. Not only like bleak teen movies or things like that. It's not normally done correctly. Like I don't like 13 either. And yet 13 was written by an actual person who was 13. That's probably one of the biggest problems with it, because when you are exactly that age, you think that everything's like terrible, right? That, like every decision you make is awful and that the world's out to get you. You need to find the correct way to do teen drama, to do teen films. I think that 13 is another after school special, another one. I don't like when movies or shows feel that way. I don't think they're complex. You did a video a while back reading a Roger Ebert review. Try that again, but with Pauline Kael. Pauline Kael's smarter than me. Pauline Kael review. We could read one. I know she was really mean to John Cassavetes. Let's read one of her Cassavetes reviews. Is there even like, is there a Pauline Kael like archive? Like, where would I go to find this stuff? I'd have to like download an entire thing from the Internet Archive. But I mean, is there like a website of just all of her stuff? Maybe someone put together. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Pauline Kael's most passionate reviews. Okay. This sounds kind of promising. It's a confusing web layout, but we got this. Go away. Bonnie and Clyde, which is a movie I love, actually. Okay, let's read a little bit of what she has to say. Bonnie and Clyde is the most passionate reviews. Oh, okay, so like these aren't movies that she hated, because she's like, Bonnie and Clyde is the most excitingly American movie since The Manchurian Candidate. The audience is alive to it. Our experience as we watch it has some connection with the way we reacted to movies in childhood, with how we came to love them and to feel they were ours. Not an art that we learned over the years to appreciate, but simply an immediately ours. See, Pauline Kael's like a lot smarter than me. And all I can say right now is, she right. She right? Okay, whatever. What's next? Chloe in the Afternoon? Eric Romer's Chloe in the Afternoon, which opened the New York Film Festival, will probably be called a perfect film, and in a way, I suppose it is, but it had evaporated a half hour after I saw it. It's about as forgettable as a movie can be. Maybe Romer, who has become a specialist in the eroticism of non-sexual affairs, has diddled over a small idea too long, perhaps intentionally, but who can be sure? This is a reductio ad absurdum, the will he or won't he game, an intellectualized version of the plight of Broadway virgins, goes on so long that the squeamish hero must be meant to be an ass. Like, she convinced me, dude. Like, I can't add to Pauline Kael. She's like good at stuff. Yeah, she liked Godfather 2. I don't care what she said about Woody Allen. What did she say about Jaws? In Jaws, which may be the most cheerfully perverse scare movie ever made, the disasters don't come on schedule the way they do in most disaster pictures, and your guts never settle down to a timetable. Even while you're convulsed with laughter, you're still apprehensive because the editing rhythms are very tricky and the shock images loom up huge right on top of you. There are parts of Jaws that suggest what Eisenstein might have done if he... It's like I'm talking to fucking Isabel. It's annoying. I'm just gonna like agree with everything. I never watched Shampoo. Looks fun. Looks like the most 70s movie of all time. I don't know. I'm not gonna find anything disagreeable though. She is interesting. Dude, I can't. She's like way smarter than me. Okay. Like, where are the great critics like Pauline Kael? Is it just that is it like several different reasons, you know? But I mean, I think I know where they are. I think it's not only that people aren't really interested in talking about film in that sort of way, but like the Pauline Kaels of today are not film critics. They're not devoting their time to talking about film. They're talking about things that are relevant to culture. Just like when Pauline Kael was talking about film, film was relevant to culture. It moved and shaped it. Interesting works to discuss and interesting themes to ponder. But now the Pauline Kaels of the world are talking about other things, other media, you know, making silly video essays on extremely serious topics for YouTube. Like, that's probably where the Pauline Kaels of today are. And that's film's fault, ultimately. The audience, honestly, can only be as good as the art or as the media itself. It's film's fault. I've been re-obsessing over 9.5 weeks. Got any favorites of the erotic thriller genre? I think I remember you doing an analysis about Belle de Jour. I love Belle de Jour. I also love 9.5 weeks, dude. That's so good. What's the what it was like a 9.5 weeks ripoff. Was it called like Two Moon Junction? That was fun too. Let me make sure it's called Two Moon Junction. That sounds like a sexy name. Might have been slightly before, but yeah, Sherilyn Fenn. Yeah. Two Moon Junction's a great, a great erotic movie. You can count a lot of De Palma in there, right? Body Doubles, certainly an erotic thriller. I know I love Belle de Jour. Don't know how thrilling I'd call that though. It's definitely erotic and surreal. It's one of the few surreal films that I really like. Buñuel's the only surrealist I really like, and I still have a lot of problems with Buñuel. Erotic thriller. It's a genre I haven't devoted a whole lot of time to. So I need someone to remind me what they are. Yeah, if you're watching this and you have a conversation topic, I'm open to all of them. Oh, Eyes Wide Shut is so good. Okay, that's definitely a favorite erotic thriller. Sliver, Last Seduction. Last Seduction's so good. Linda Fiorentino, is that her name? The girl from Dogma. She's amazing, super sexy. I love her in that movie. Don't really know what happened to her. I think she was difficult to work with or something. I don't really like Basic Instinct too much. Fatal Attraction's fun. Yeah, Body Doubles here. Is there any other one I like? It's a good genre. Bound was good. Here's a question. Why were erotic thrillers so Color of Night, dude? I love Color of Night. I remember I wasn't allowed to watch that movie on VHS when I was a kid because of how erotic it was, but I was really into Bruce Willis movies, so I remember like stealing it from my parents' collection and going off to watch the cool Bruce Willis Color of Night movie and just, oh my God, really shouldn't have done that. But it's probably not that great, but I have nostalgia and sentimentality for it. Color of Night's really cool. But I guess my question was, why do you think erotic thrillers were so popular within the 80s and 90s? Because I feel like a movie like Color of Night or Basic Instinct, even, they would just be exploitation movies in the 70s, So like what about the erotic thriller was so interesting? Was it like, what was it speaking to? Like, what were the marriage rates like in the 80s and 90s? Was that when like people were really starting to get divorced en masse? I'm sure it has something to do with like video rentals also becoming cooler, like VHS rentals, home media becoming a thing. And like, are these erotic thrillers, like, are they mostly made for men, or are they mostly made for women? Are they tapping into, like, because if they're made for men, it's about how, like, your sexual appetite will be your destruction, right? And if it's about women, it's actually, like, empowering by weaponizing their eroticism to destroy a man's, obsession over them. So, like, the erotic thriller is something that probably deserves to be studied and probably has been studied, I think so. But what's my favorite erotic thriller? If you're counting Belle de Jour, then it's Belle de Jour. I love that film to death. The more I think about Belle de Jour, the more it becomes a favorite of mine. Maybe next time I do a top 10 favorite films, Belle de Jour will be there. I think it's really special and beautiful. And a strikingly perfect film for me is Belle de Jour. But Eyes Wide Shut, I guess. Eyes Wide Shut, I think is more purely an erotic thriller. But yeah. You said you're not a fan of sentimentality in movies like Shawshank Redemption or Green Mile in previous videos. Is there a reason? Yeah, it doesn't get complicated. It just gets difficult to articulate. Well, because all sentimentality is excessive by definition. All of it. Like, I think people forget that the definition of like sentimental and sentimentality are two separate things, right? So the definition of sentimentality is excessive tenderness, sadness, or nostalgia, which I'm okay with in certain coming of age products and teen media, things like that. Where I don't like it is in films like Shawshank Redemption, in films like Green Mile, and certainly films like Saving Private Ryan, when we're using like these very serious topics that shouldn't be bathed with nostalgia or excessive tenderness. And I think that you are sanitizing it. Like, to me, the Green Mile sanitizes like racism and prison life. I think that Saving Private Ryan sanitizes the Second World War by making it like some sort of fever dream of your grandfather's like glory story. Shawshank Redemption does similar things. I think that sentimentality should only be applied to young people, because I think sentimentality is something you should grow out of, possibly. Because sentimentality by definition is excessive. It's hard to be a fan of something that's excessive within a film. That's why I don't really mind like sentimental, whatever, but sentimentality by definition is overwhelming. I think the rise of co-ed corporate yuppie culture has a lot to do with it, if that makes sense. I think that absolutely makes sense, because one of the biggest guys for the erotic thriller was Michael Douglas, right? And I associate him directly with Wall Street, which is probably, ironically, yuppie culture's like credo. Gordon Gekko became like a hero of the yuppie movement, which is like what, the second or third time Oliver Stone accidentally like made immortal that which he was criticizing. He did that in Scarface as well, which is a critique of capitalism, and then every wannabe fucking drug kingpin thinks it's the coolest movie ever. And then Wall Street, it's another critique of capitalism, of corporate greed, and everyone wants to be fucking Gordon Gekko saying greed is good. So that's funny. But when I think of Michael Douglas, I think of Wall Street or Basic Instinct, Fatal Attraction, and then he even spoofed that with War of the Roses with Danny DeVito, the amount of erotic thrillers he was in. So I think you're onto something, considering that Michael Douglas is kind of like the poster boy, the poster child of 80s yuppie culture and 90s. And he's normally the one who is the star of those movies, or at least the most successful ones. And I mean, are we looking into like, yeah, I like to stick with that for a minute. Because Belle de Jour was focused on certain things as well, that the perversions of the bourgeois. So like, are we saying that erotic thrillers explore the perversions of the bourgeois too, like in a similar way? Maybe. I think the news culture, scandal was popping up at that time. Also propaganda to not destroy the nuclear family. Yeah, that's why I was asking what like the marriage rates were. I think you're right, Nessie, as well, because I think divorce was starting to become pretty commonplace, right? And scandal, you're right. That's when, news culture. We had some pretty big stories then, right? Do we think that like it could be propaganda to not destroy the nuclear family, but they'd be really bad at that propaganda. Like kind of fed into it. Kind of fed into the perversions. Like, seeing Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct can give you a whole new slew of perversions to leave your wife over. Like, if that's the case, then they made terrible propaganda. Like, I think that men at their horniest have this sort of death wish, like, so like maybe cinema at its horniest is like completely buys into that death wish. Like every single male protagonist of a Brian De Palma film like wants to fucking self-immolate in like the horniest way. You can say that about most war movies with the sentimentality. Most of them, yeah. And that's when you get this, like some of them that are powerful. Come and See is a big one people talk about. I think The Thin Red Line is the best war movie ever made. And there's not sentimentality within that. There's a conversation about spirituality within that, and it's done incredibly well. There's a lot of other things within that, but it's not sentimental. It's not like these boys will be proud of this. It's not about that. It's difficult, but I think if you're going to make a movie about a difficult subject, right, you should approach it in a mature way. Because if you approach it like Spielberg, then you get the problem of very simplistic solutions to overwhelming problems. That's what happens with sentimentality when you're approaching it like that. And to be honest, most teen shows and teen dramas like don't have that much sentimentality to them. They really don't. Not really. Not unless it's like clearly autobiographical, but even then they'll deconstruct sentimentality and nostalgia into something a little bit more real or unreal. War movies and the more traditional filmmakers fall into sentimentality an awful lot. But the rise of corporate co-ed corporate, yeah, like Working Girl was like one fucking step away from being an erotic thriller. I'm thinking of even like the other just normal romances of the late 80s, early 90s. The creators of Family Ties also created a character who is loved by conservatives and capitalists alike, but was a critic of capitalism, and Michael J. Fox, in contrast to his liberal parents. I never actually watched Family Ties. I know that's where Michael J. Fox is from, and I know that he was kind of unique within television because he was a conservative character. But I never watched Family Ties, so that's cool. I mean, I think that true conservatives have to criticize what capitalism has become. Because there's a difference between being a conservative and being pro corporate greed. Like those don't have to necessarily go hand in hand. But yeah, erotic thrillers. Does someone else have a theory why erotic thrillers were so popular? Someone has to have. There are theories. There are other theories. Ronald Reagan wanted to be on the show. Did they tell him no? If they told the president no thanks, that's fucking insane and wildly based. AI, let's read AIs first. Let's be cool. Erotic thrillers became popular because they explored the contradictions of the Reagan era, which was politically conservative but culturally trashy. These films captured the anxieties and excesses of yuppie culture in stylized yet messy commercial products. They also built on the world of classic film noir, blah, 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 blah. To reflect the cultural fear of AIDS. To be honest, I didn't get any of the cultural fear of AIDS from this, from those movies and all. But I think that AI, where it's talking about stuff we were talking about in the chat, yeah, basically what we were talking about in the chat. When we were talking about like talking about yuppies and a propaganda for the nuclear family, those sorts of things. To reflect the cultural fear of AIDS, though, I think not. I think that's what vampire movies and horror movies were for. I mean, it's my own pet theory that the Lost Boys and Fright Night and 80s vampire movies, or even like 90s ones like Interview with the Vampire, were about the cultural fear of AIDS. Not fucking Fatal Attraction. But okay, that's a theory. Yeah, all of the different reasons for why they think erotic thrillers were popular. I scanned through them. All have to do with Reagan. So I'd say it's in contrast to the political climate of the time. Maybe it has to be a couple different factors, though. It can't just be like that. It's not like when Bush was in office, we got a bunch of erotic thrillers again. You know, like it also has to be the time of the video rental. And maybe even like because I don't know. I don't want to think about it too much. I don't want to spend too much time on erotic thrillers, but I think it is interesting. My brain's in the opposite place lately. And I mean George W. Bush, not his dad. Should have got a bunch of erotic thrillers then. Trump era fucking films should have been both culturally trashy and politically trashy. We should have had a fucking renaissance of garbage, but we didn't. Who knows? And they didn't want Reagan on the show. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's good. But no. Yeah, next time I do a live stream, I'll make sure that I understand how to use the software first. So we can actually watch videos and stuff like that. But I want to thank all of you guys for like being here. Because it's cool. And also this live stream's getting deleted like 10 minutes after I'm done. Access normalization of sexual liberation has something to do with it too. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Ruben. That's exactly what I'm saying. Popularization of pornography could be a factor. That's what I'm getting at with video rentals, because like Hollywood used to have like the that sex appeal on tap, and like now at the video rental store you can go to like the secret room in the back and get exactly what you actually want. So like I think films were becoming more pornographic, you know, which is directly connected to access and normalization of sexual liberation, is the popularization of pornography. And I don't know. I think it is convenient. A lot of writers, when they look back, they also possess sentimentality and nostalgia and like a weird bias. Well, if there's like a controversial conservative leader at the time, they will try to pin every problematic genre on their presidency, which I don't think is like the best thing to do. I think it's more access normalization, sexual. This is what I was trying to do with video rentals. So I couldn't really word it, you know, because I wouldn't even necessarily call most of the erotic thrillers trashy. You know, I don't think that pornography is inherently trashy either. I think that's an awkwardly conservative position to have when you're criticizing Reagan era politics, personally. I'm talking about whatever we just read. I think it was an AI, though, so we're criticizing an AI. You brought up Terrence Malick earlier. Any thoughts on him? He's like one of the only Christian spiritual filmmakers that I think is brilliant. That I think talks about Christianity in a way that is like beautifully done. To me, he's the opposite of Tarkovsky, the opposite of Scorsese at this point. I think that Malick actually makes films that you can truly feel the spirituality of, and he has interesting like filmic discussions about God in ways that truly feel special. My thoughts on Terrence Malick, though, is that his the first films are his best films, and like I never rewatch any of the ones after. Like I don't rewatch Tree of Life, I don't rewatch To the Wonder. The only ones I go back to again and again and again and again are Badlands, Days of Heaven, and The Thin Red Line. I think those are beyond perfect. I think they're extraordinarily well done. He's a fascinating director. What he like left. He made Days of Heaven, disappeared for 20 fucking years, and comes back with The Thin Red Line. How to like teach what Hegel in college, in universities? Like he's fascinating. He's a fascinating artist. I love Terrence Malick. I at least love his first 3 films a lot. Tree of Life's okay. I think it's like overrated. I think his like later works like still interesting, but it's like he's probably the best like outwardly like Christian artist that we have. And I call him a Christian artist because all of his films are overtly about God, about Jesus. I like Terrence Malick. I think it's really difficult to make relevant films about God in the ultra modern world, because like we're beyond postmodernism, we're in ultra modernism, and to make films about God when like Nietzsche killed God like 4 fucking like movements ago, like that's hard to do, and Terrence Malick figures out how to do it in a way that feels genuine and intelligent and passionate and important, you know, makes that conversation relevant. It's no one else can do what he does. I used to be a big fan of Tarkovsky, for the record, but I don't like him at all anymore. I don't relate to his spiritual exercises. Scorsese, I liked Silence, and I wish Silence was his last movie, and he just fucking retired. I don't think people should be expected to work until they died. I wish that Martin Scorsese just retired after Silence. It'd be great. It'd be a great place to stop. And what's the anecdote, right? Malick saw Silence and sent Scorsese a letter asking him, Marty, what does God want from us? And Martin had absolutely no idea how to answer him. But like that's how Malick thinks all the time. What's your thoughts on the significance of propaganda films? Like, what kind of propaganda are we talking, right? Because I think Frank Capra is amazing. He's one of the best directors of all time. You could argue that most of his films are propaganda films. I don't think they did like demonstrable harm. He made actual propaganda films, though. He did. I think he's great. Like, are we talking Leni Riefenstahl, though? Like, are we talking Triumph of the Will? Because then we're talking something very different. Significance of propaganda films, almost every film is a propaganda film. Every film, I mean, if it believes in itself at all, it's trying to convince you of something political, something philosophical, or something psychological, or something sexual. You know, If we're talking about straight up like paid for by the government propaganda films, I mean, you can even call Iron Man one because like or those Transformers movie or any action movie made within the last 20 years because like the U.S. Army like allows them like pays to have proper representation within them. Like Top Gun Maverick is funded by like the fucking Navy and Air Force. Like those are propaganda films. Significance of them, they're still being made, and we just don't recognize them for what they are. You know. So far as like Triumph of the Will, that Leni Riefenstahl Nazi propaganda movie, it's not even that good. Like edgy cinephiles need to stop saying that Lenny was good. She wasn't. She's highly overrated. Uh, it's not even good. Like we don't actually need it. Saw a documentary on Sus the Jew and the director's family after. Oh, well, I mean, propaganda films are super. Well, my feelings on the significance of propaganda films just goes along with the significance of films. Right? Films have changed the world, changed culture, changed beauty standards, changed the thoughts people have about race, creed, color, or blah, 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 blah. Films have changed all those things when film was relevant. Do I think that propaganda films now have any demonstrable impact? I mean, let's check. When Top Gun Maverick was released in 2022, if it had any sort of impact like the first film had, we should be able to see like a rise in people joining the Navy or the Air Force since that movie. And what, like 2023 enlistment stats, right? Like that's how you would figure it out. And like, I don't know. I don't think films are relevant at all anymore. Because in the 80s you can see some demonstrable effect that Top Gun Maverick had, or Top Gun 1 had. I mean, hell, at both Maverick and Top Gun before the film, they showed you a Navy ad, like for enlisting. And people during in the 80s when Top Gun 1 came out actually joined. But looks like last year, 3 branches reported falling short of their recruitment goals. Like, so I don't even know if propaganda works anymore. You know, and Top Gun Maverick was a massively successful film. So propaganda through films, I'm not sure if that works anymore. It obviously worked once upon a time, but I think that propaganda films or the significance that they used to have is irrelevant now because most films are irrelevant. Yeah. So those are my thoughts on that, I guess. But I'm not too familiar with this. Veit Harlan. Do you believe that story that it's an interesting documentary. His son hated his father, wasn't persecuted for his films. Interesting. Well, I think back then films were entirely relevant, and you can definitely show that propaganda films, especially Nazi ones, had felt impacts on the viewer for sure. Do you think that Fritz Lang was lying, by the way? Because he kept saying it until he died, that he was approached to be like the Goebbels of Nazi Germany. Like he was approached to at least make a lot of Nazi films for them, be their minister, whatever. I don't know. I don't care. But a lot of people like to say that Fritz Lang was a compulsive liar and was entirely lying about that because his story ends with him like fleeing the country at that exact point. And a lot of people like to point out like the inconsistencies with Fritz's story. They're like, no, we just think he left and was never asked that. In fact, we think he might have left out of jealousy. But who knows? I think that propaganda films, honestly, I think up until like the 90s and 2000s, film was extraordinarily relevant, and propaganda films were moving, and they were influential on the public. I don't think they're that way anymore, though. Do I think that people should be prosecuted? Well, I mean, he should have been persecuted for collaborating with the Nazis, right? Like he should have been persecuted for that. You know, I don't think like making any film alone should damn you to hell. But if you were getting paid by genocidal madmen, maybe. All right, we've done erotic thrillers. We've done propaganda films. I stumbled my way through lists and tiers earlier. What's next? What are we going to talk about? What is this? Oh. Hold on. If so, they would have forced him, the main actor of the movie I mentioned, didn't want to be in it and tried to humanize his character. Well, it sounds like this story of Veit Harlan is like more complicated. I would have to look into that situation, I guess, then. You're saying that, like, yeah, you're talking about things I'm not educated enough to provide a great answer or great insight about, though. I think the Marvel films are fascinating in some ways, disturbing, new approach to American propagandist cinema. Absolutely. Like, okay, why? Okay, 2008 is when Iron Man came out, right? And like that's like Obama's first year in office. There were a couple things happening, recessions happening, bailouts happening. Why the fuck though? Why the fuck did superheroes become so goddamn big? And why the fuck were they big for what's this 2024 for like what, like 15 years? Like why? Why? Like I get fads. Fads come in and out, you know? Like the erotic thriller didn't last fucking 15 years. Schwarzenegger and Stallone films weren't at peak popularity for 15 years. You know, like maybe westerns were around for a long time. But what about those superhero fucking propaganda films? Like you can argue that they're propaganda films. But like those superhero films just captivated audiences. And honestly, it was like the end of cinema's relevance was that movement. And I hate everything that the public saw within those characters. It just seems so desperate. Like, did we really feel that that loss, that helpless, that we had to call upon like Tony Starks of the world, these billionaire messiah figures, like to save us? Did we really feel this helpless, and that the government just didn't know anything? Did we really feel this entirely helpless, that we had to see ourselves within superheroes for 15 fucking years? I get feeling helpless. That's like probably a constant universal thing, but the archetypes change, the characters change, the traits of that change. What the fuck? Like I'm so burnt out on like the Marvel discourse thing that now I'm just like upset about how long it's been going on. That there's like what, over 20 fucking projects in Marvel. That much of an appetite for being fucking helpless, for wanting to be a god. For like what the hell? What are your thoughts on biopics, whatever, however you say them? Which do you think are the prime examples of the genre? I don't have a thought on biopics like overall. I think that like it's interesting when you make a film about a true event, because film can't capture truth, like in essence, right? You know, like every film can be a documentary of its own making, but that's about as truthful as films get. Everything changes when it's filmed. It's called like dramaturgy or something. Everything and everyone changes when filmed. So like when you're making a biopic, it's almost like the more truthful it is to the actual person's life, then the less cinematic it is. You know, like if you're really trying to make a film about real life, then you're failing out the gate. So like I don't know. I think biopics are fine. I don't think that they should be very accurate, you know. Like Oliver Stone's The Doors is pretty dope. Pretty dope movie about Jim Morrison that's entirely insane. Prime examples of the genre for biopics, like these are hard to remember. Someone would say Andrei Rublev, right? I wouldn't, but that's an interesting example of a biopic. I'm more into like autobiographical films then. Like if you're gonna recreate something, recreate like your own autobiography, cinematically, like Truffaut would understand that with the 400 Blows better than anyone else. But I liked Chaplin. I liked the Robert Downey Jr. movie. Like I don't really have too many thoughts on biopics. I think it's dangerous when a film presents itself as trustworthy, like historically. So like, yeah, and I think that most biopics do. A lot of people will watch a movie about a subject and not even look into it, right? The real thing. Colors is a movie with a negative impact. It popularized the Crips and Bloods gangs. I feel it's one of the reasons Los Angeles gangs are nationwide. It could totally be so. Oh, I remember this movie with Sean Penn. Dennis Hopper made it? Interesting. And okay, so we can point out like films that had negative impact, but like so many had positive ones too. Like film is dangerous, but film can also be entirely helpful. Like it was a little like they were a little late to the party film wise, but Guess Who's Coming to Dinner had a very positive like impact on romantic race relations within the country. There's a like representation provides normalization repeated. Film's probably done more good than bad. Right? It's just you have to understand that like everything that when you put it on film, it becomes cinematic and it becomes larger than life just by the process of it. So you run the chance every time you make a film of having a negative or positive impact. At least nowadays, we don't have to worry about that because films have no impact. Like what were the impact of the Marvel films? Like what were their impact? Like what did people take away from it philosophically? I mean, I can't think of a world pre Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark where Elon Musk is a significant figure at all. Like maybe we actually did just start to believe billionaires. Like I don't know. I can't think of any actual positive effect that Marvel films had. Or effect at all, like on human psychology, because you can argue that they murdered Hollywood movie making, as we know, but philosophically, I have no idea what we took away from it. That makes sense. I saw a doc on Billie Holiday where her peers say that her being made to be the victim is inaccurate to her story because even though she was victimized, she was a strong woman. Exactly, but the victimization of certain powerful women make for stronger cinema. You know, like it's fucking it's tough when directors make films that they claim to be factual because no film is factual. It can't be. It can't be. Marvel films made it cool to be a nerd. Did Marvel do that or did Adam fucking Brody do that in the OC? I think Adam Brody did a better job at it. And okay, so like what cultural impact though does making it cool to be a nerd? Like what is that impact then? Like what does that even mean? Nerds used to be like outliers though, or outsiders though. And what happened with made it cool to be a nerd was like Disney, this mammoth corporation, bought up these nerdy projects or IPs and properties, and suddenly the nerds became conformists overnight because Disney can't be shilling their products out to outsiders. They got to make them the insiders. Like, so even then, I don't even think it made it cool to be a nerd. I think that Adam Brody being Seth Cohen on the OC made it a lot cooler to be a nerd. Like, why did Marvel films do that and not Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies or even Nolan's Dark Knight series? Which, by the way, I think that both Raimi's Spider-Mans and Nolan's Batmans are better than anything that came out of the Marvel films. And even then, I love Joss Whedon's work, and I like Age of Ultron a lot actually. I think people don't read that film correctly. And then why go to Joss Whedon, I guess, too, to make the Avengers like the big movie that has to sell the entire connected universe idea? You went to a television auteur to do it. And people complain about the Avengers 1, and they say that it feels like a television show. And I'm like, well, no fucking shit. They hired a television auteur to direct it. Yeah, I would think so. And I think they knew what they were getting in return, the film they were getting in return. So like, and that also came at a time when streaming was so big. So film itself, television spent fucking 40 years trying to be more cinematic. And now cinema is trying to be more like television. Like, I can't even follow it. Like, television, streaming, all that surpassed cinema after years of trying to be just like them. And they just surpassed them. And now cinema's like, shit, now we got to be more like television again. Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's difficult to tell, like, the cultural impact. Like, it's almost an unfair question that something's had on a culture until like a decent amount of time has gone by, right? Because, like, think of all the online discourse that came out of Marvel and Star Wars and Disney movies, and it might be unfair even just to call them Marvel movies, right? Because I think it is Disney. Like. If anything's going to have cultural impact, it's that. And it's what is it doing? I mean, you can say that, like, stoking the culture war, I guess. I don't fucking know. I cannot believe there's culture wars around Star Wars and Marvel. Dude, I don't understand. Sidney Lumet also came from TV. So did Steven Spielberg, but he didn't come from being a genius of television, and neither did Spielberg. Whedon was like, helped not only reinvent television, but invent 90s television. Well, with Buffy, with Firefly, with Dollhouse, he was a genius television auteur. And like, when Lumet and Spielberg were working within television was still trying to figure out how it was presenting itself. And they really just filmed those like films. Whedon perfectly understood the structure and look and format of television storytelling. It's hard to compare television from the 90s to the 80s and from the 80s to the 70s. It's difficult. Like, almost like modern television really started in the 90s or 80s. You can say that, like, Next Generation, Star Trek could be like the first truly modern show that really understood television structure. You know, like, and I like older shows and things like that, but television didn't have a very clear idea of its own identity, I think, until the late 80s, of its own artistry and impact, really. I think the Marvel films meet a lot of Americans at their socio-political cynicism and does a magic trick to re-engage their commitment, if that makes sense. It does. It goes to something we said earlier. I forgot about what, but I was complaining. Oh, Spielberg's sentimentality. I was saying offering dangerously simple solutions to overwhelmingly difficult problems, right? I even think Alan Moore said something like that when he was asked about, like, the superhero craze, that they offer, like, simple solutions to impossible problems. And I guess that the issue is if the audience actually believes in that, you know. Americans at their sociopolitical cynicism. It does, but, like, I wish audiences were smarter. You know, I wish audiences were like, well, who's giving me this message? Who's re-engaging my commitment? Do they have a vested interest in my bank account, in my devotion as an audience member? I don't get it. That's like the easiest thing to play on an audience for. But audiences love it. They fucking love it. Nolan's Batman series was too cynical, and Raimi's Spider-Man too saccharine to pull the magic trick off. Yeah, too sweet. Thank God. Thank God, though. Maybe, okay, is the magic trick like... The magic trick you're talking about, you should write a paper on the magic trick, but the magic trick that you're talking about has certainly made its way into political and cultural discourse, which makes like complicated conversations simple, and they shouldn't be. Too cynical and then too sweet. Maybe that's what superhero movies should be, right? Or else they run the risk of people trying to bring that magic trick into their own lives. I don't know. I like the pre-Marvel superhero stuff a little bit. Like Blade 1 was dope as fuck. So was Blade 2, actually. I never really liked Star Wars, but it revamped the sci-fi genre in mainstream. Yeah, I mean, I think George Lucas made a great film called A New Hope. He made a much better one called American Graffiti, though. That's like a lot more complicated, but of course there's no fucking space wizards. I mean, I like Star Trek and stuff. Like, I'm not against sci-fi. I'm not a fantasy fan, though. And I don't think Star Wars is science fiction anyway. Like, if we get down to it, I'm not really being, like, semantical. Not doing semantics here. It's literally the Lord of the Rings has more in common with Star Wars than it does with Star Trek. I think it's just fantasy, and I don't like fantasy. Fantasy is like the worst example of this magic trick that ML is talking about. That re-engages an audience member's commitment to something that they would ordinarily feel cynical about. No, I'm not a fan of Narcos or Breaking Bad. I thought Breaking Bad was really poorly done, actually. Narcos I never finished. I never finished Breaking Bad either, but I thought Breaking Bad was like really overrated. I like The Sopranos, and that's one thing. And The Wire is okay too, but like those shows to me fail. Like fail in the function of what I like within television. Like those shows to me pop up on a bunch of cinephiles lists of favorite shows because I think they're more like film than television, and I don't like it when like TV tries to be more like film. Not since the 90s, not since like we figured out that TV is actually cooler than movies. You know, those are movies that cinephiles like because or shows that cinephiles like because they're more like movies than shows. Whereas I like shows that are more like shows than movies for sure. Like Buffy or Dawson's Creek or Gossip Girl. I like those long 22 episode long seasons where the writers get to really explore every theme and be goofy, be serious, be wild, be cool. Whereas Breaking Bad and Sopranos, they just feel like 12-hour long fucking movies, and they have the same structure as a fucking movie, not as a show. But Star Trek has great philosophy. It does. It really does. I like I like quite a bit of Star Trek. I like the original series, Next Gen, DS9, Voyager. I even liked Enterprise. I like a lot of the not a lot of the movies. I like a couple of the movies too. Motion Picture, Wrath of Khan, First Contact. Might have to rewatch like the fucking Abrams verse ones because I'm fucking analyzing JJ right now. Might have to look into him again. Look into those movies. I remember them being good though. Sci-fi fantasy. Oh, I like Bryan Cranston as a comedic actor better. Malcolm in the Middle is one of my favorite shows as a kid. Malcolm in the Middle is a real show. Like that's a real television show. I don't think that show is trying to be like a movie at all. Bryan Cranston. It's just a little overrated to me, but I do see him sometimes. Like Drive, he was awesome. He was great. You know, I think I like him in smaller roles, possibly. I'm still trying to figure out what the magic trick actually is. I think it involves parodying the people's cynicism while still acting on behalf of the hidden political interests. That has to be it. That has to be it. Let's think about it. People's cynicism. Yeah. I mean, I think you nailed it, ML. It's just that, let's see. Because, like, who are even... Because Marvel isn't about auteurs, right? I think that the only... Like, Joss Whedon, with Age of Ultron, not even with his original 2012 Avengers, Age of Ultron is like the only movie out of every Marvel movie that feels like a Joss Whedon movie more than a Marvel movie. Like his philosophy, his existentialist philosophy got through that. Right? But every other Marvel movie, the company is the auteur, and that's where Marvel and Disney gets dangerous. Disney is the auteur behind every Marvel movie except for Age of Ultron, and that's why a lot of people don't even like Age of Ultron. So like we can't even go director by director and look at their philosophy and see if they align, because it's all about the company. And of course the company has to be acting on behalf of hidden political interests. I think you're absolutely right. Putting it like that, it actually makes perfect sense that the MCU begins in 2008 with Obama's start. Yeah. But why did it keep going? Like, the MCU outlived a 2-term presidency, and then outlived the Trump presidency, and now is hopefully about to die at the end of a fucking Biden one. How long is that? It's so long. It did. Was that because it was made by a different studio, or is the director of that movie someone who's cool? Because that wasn't Louis Leterrier. No, he's not like cool. He just makes Fast and Furious movies. And now you see me. Felt different only because it didn't feel as uniform as the others, because I felt like that guy didn't watch Iron Man, because when that one came out, only Iron Man 1 was out, right? Like, how much of a concept did they even have? And Jon Favreau, to me, is just a hack. The guy who did the first 2 Iron Man movies. Just a hack. Well, some fucking studio hack. So I don't really count him as anything. I think Incredible Hulk feels different because I don't think they really knew what they were getting involved with right then and there. Because the scene with Robert Downey Jr. in it that connects that to the MCU just feels like such a reshoot. Like it was crammed in there. I think overall it is absolutely Disney. A company is an auteur, or like the most charitable you can be is that Feige, the producer, is the auteur, which is insane. That's not art. That's what Scorsese's talking about with MCU not being films. Films are normally made by artists, not by gigantic corporations with no face, or at the very best, that gigantic corporation spokesperson. Like, I think that's really what he means there. And what do you mean with the begins in 2008 with Obama's start? What about Obama made people so fucking cynical? Like, cynical enough that you need a goddamn superhero, a god to solve it. Who knows? Thanks to the couple of you who like stuck it out with me on this live stream, even though it's a bit messy. Let's See you. They treat actors like characters that take the mantle of a superhero persona in the comics. They treat the actors like the characters, or what do you mean? I just have no fucking idea why superheroes are just so necessary to having any sort of film discussion. Maybe it's still going because they infantilize the public. The movies are now a pacifier. Most of us still want to believe in magic as much as we want to ignore the likelihood of social collapse. Possibly. Is it like how you know something's huge is if it's like elsewhere, right? Because you can trace like the postmodernism being hip in the late 90s and early 2000s directly to the music of the time, to the art of the time, you know, to everywhere, not just films, but every form of art. Like, can we take that magic trick and apply it to other people, or at least the weird billionaire messiah thing to other people? Like, can we do that? Like, was it in music? What was this infantilization within music? I think it had, right. Music's gotten simpler or whatever. No, we were already cynical, and Obama gave us the facade of hope. Okay, so you're saying, yeah, that but he was actually acting on behalf of hidden political interests. I don't know about that. But we would have to provide examples of not only the infantilization, but of the paranoia in other forms of media for it to have, I think, really have been felt like that. And maybe it was. Maybe it was. Maybe Kanye West in a fucking nutshell, as a huge artist of the time, is equal parts infantilized and paranoid. Who fucking knows? That's how, people just aren't interested in cool things. And like, okay, let's say that like we entirely agree, and people need to be infantilized. Is that why they're superheroes? Is that why they're action figures and not like something else? Because I think like westerns. No, westerns didn't represent the same thing. Everywhere, every angle, the superhero phenomenon is boring. I just wish, okay, like it took. I just wish we got over it. I just wish we got over this whole fucking superhero thing. And I think we are getting over it, but like every time I think that the superhero thing is done, it completely monopolizes discourse again. And yes, I'm including Star Wars in the whole thing here. Because right now, if you go to YouTube and try to watch a video about media criticism, all you're going to find are Acolyte videos. Like, I include that there. And Disney didn't always used to make fucking nonsense. Some of their stuff was interesting to talk about once. In the comics, the superhero persona of Batman is mantle or title, with multiple characters taking over that persona. When, for instance, for Flash, there is Barry Allen or Wally West. They're both Flash. Yeah. I understand that. I get that. Oh, well. Superheroes is dumb. Superheroes is dumb. Anyways, I think I'm probably out of here. Thanks for watching the stream. Thanks for hanging out. make this stream into an urban legend where since it's getting deleted, say that I did some ridiculous shit on it and it was crazy, yo. But thanks everybody.